Hi KCA students, and welcome to week 3 of grammar. You guys made it through another week, and I'm sure you did amazingly, and I hope you're getting the hang of this new grammar system. So today we're going to be learning about clauses, phrases, and simple sentences. So make sure you have in front of you your week 3 lesson and a sharpened pencil, and you're ready to go. Let's begin. A clause is a group of words that contains both a subject and a verb. So an example of this would be, Lauren ate the french fries. You look and it has both a subject, Lauren, and a verb, ate. Another example of this would be, when Lauren ate the french fries. But consider that this statement, when Lauren ate the french fries, is not a sentence. That doesn't make complete sense. So, we know that it's still a clause because it has a subject, Lauren, and a verb, ate. But just because it is a clause does not mean it's a sentence. On the other hand, a phrase is simply a group of words. So a phrase doesn't have to have both a subject and a verb. An example of a phrase would be, at the store. That does not have a verb. There's no action being completed by the subject. Another phrase is the silly dog. Again, there's no verb. There's no action being completed by dog. It's just a group of words. So, in this way, a phrase is different than a clause because a clause does have to have both a subject and a verb, whether or not it has to make complete sense or be a complete sentence. So now we're going to begin the work for our lesson. So make sure you have a pencil ready. Number 1 says, Mrs. DeBoer ate the salad. And we're distinguishing whether each group of words is a clause or a phrase. So you want to look at the first group of words and look, does it have a subject and a verb? Because if it does, we know it's a clause. So, Mrs. DeBoer ate the salad. Well, we see that there's an action being completed, so there is definitely a verb, ate. And there's action being completed by someone, Mrs. DeBoer. So we know there's both a subject and a verb, so we know number 1 is going to be a clause. Number 2 says, under the mistletoe, and we're looking for a subject and a verb, and it doesn't look like there's an action being completed. Under the mistletoe, what? So there is a subject, mistletoe, but there's not a verb. The mistletoe's not doing anything. So this one's going to be a phrase. Number 3 says, while the girls spoke. Well, there is an action, speaking is happening, so we know spoke is the verb. Who is speaking? Girl. So we know there's both a subject and a verb, so that is a clause. Number 4, the dog walked. Is there an action being completed? Yes. Is there a subject to complete the action? Yes. So this one is a clause as well. I just want to reiterate that just because it is a clause, it does not mean that it is a full sentence. And we see this in the case of number 3, because yes, it has both a subject, girl, and a verb, spoke. It does not make complete sense. While the girl spoke is not a complete sentence. Well, it still is a clause because it has both a subject and a verb. So this year in grammar, we're going to be learning about 4 different sentence structures. There's simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences. And we're going to get into the other types of sentences later in the year, but we're going to start in this lesson on the simple sentences. And what you need to know about a simple sentence is it follows the 5 rules of a sentence, just as all sentences do, which we learned about in the last lesson, and it always has one clause. So what you need to know for now is pretty much all the sentences we're going to be working with at the beginning of the year are going to be simple sentences because they will only have one clause. So we're going to begin with the lesson, and the instructions say label the subject and verb of the sentence purpose, and the sentence structure. Underline any phrases you find. So the first sentence says, the woman walked her dog. So we're going to begin by labeling the subject and the verb, which we learned to do in our last lesson. So what's the action being performed? Walked, walking. That's going to be our verb. And our subject is going to be what? You ask, who's walking? Woman is walking. So we know this is a subject, and now we would ask ourselves, is this a subject noun or a subject pronoun? Well, is it taking the place of a normal noun? No. It's just the noun, woman. Now we have to label the sentence purpose. So, our purposes of sentences are declarative, interrogative, exclamatory, and imperative. This one is making a statement, it's declaring something. So it's going to be a declarative sentence. Second, we have to find the sentence structure. Well, we know that a simple sentence only has one clause, and this sentence only has one clause. So it's going to be a simple sentence. Our second sentence says, under the sun, the flowers bloomed. So is there an action being performed in this sentence? Yes. Something is blooming. Blooming. Bloomed is the verb. What bloomed? Flowers. So we know this is a subject and it is a noun. Subject noun. Now the sentence purpose. What is the purpose of this sentence? Something is being exclaimed. Sentence purpose is going to be exclamatory. And we can see that because of this exclamation point. It's showing excitement and it's showing feeling about the statement. Secondly, we have to find the sentence structure. Well, we know this only has one clause, so it is a simple sentence. Now, the other directions listed say to underline any phrases you find. And here, you might see another phrase. Now we see this isn't a clause, under the sun, because it doesn't have both a subject and a verb. So we know it must be a phrase, because only a subject is included. Sentence number 3 says, Mrs. Mills and Mrs. DeBoer watched a silly movie. So we need to find the verb. What action is being performed in this sentence? Someone is watching something. Watched is going to be our verb. Now you might ask yourself, seems like 2 people are performing this action. And you are right. Both Mrs. Mills and Mrs. DeBoer are the subject nouns of this sentence. So for labeling something like this, you can put it just over both, or you can subject noun Mrs. Mills, subject noun Mr. DeBoer. The sentence purpose of this is to declare something. It's a statement and it's a fact. So you know it's a declarative sentence. Now, the sentence structure, as we know, there is only one clause because though there are 2 subjects in this sentence, Mrs. DeBoer and Mrs. Mills, there's only one verb. So, this is still just one clause. So we know that it is a simple sentence. Sentence 4 says, during the movie, a phone rang. So what action is being performed in this sentence? Something is ringing. So the verb is going to be rang. Now you ask, what rang? Phone rang. Phone is the subject noun of the sentence. The sentence purpose is to, you guessed it, declare something, make a statement. So it's a declarative sentence. And again, the sentence structure, simple, because there's only one clause seen in this sentence. And now we also see during the movie. This is a phrase. It does not contain both a subject and a verb, so it is not a clause. It is just a group of words. Sentence number 5 says, go to sleep. And we learned about command sentences last week, so this is going to be a review for you guys, and I know you can do it. The action being performed in this sentence is go. That is the verb. Someone is telling someone else, go. And we know who the subject is. The subject is going to be the understood you. Subject pronoun. And again, I'm sure your parents have said this to you, go to sleep. And you know they're talking to you. It is understood. They don't have to say your name. You go to sleep. So now we know the sentence purpose. It is to make a command or request. And so it's going to be an imperative sentence first and foremost. But we also see an exclamation point. So what does that mean? This sentence has two purposes. Sorry for my messy handwriting, by the way. It is to make a command and to exclaim something. So it is both an imperative and an exclamatory sentence. Now the sentence structure, again, is going to be a simple sentence because there's only one clause here with one subject and one verb. So that's a wrap on KCA Grammar Week 3 lesson. And I know you guys are going to rock your homework. You're going to do amazingly. And just know if you ever find yourself struggling or you need help with it, it's so helpful to go back and reference the work that you did on the lesson, or even go back and reference this video, because it might be helpful to go rewatch it and apply what we learned in these sentences to the sentences in your homework. Hope you guys have a great week.